Hi, this is not a Madeline Zamara Memories episode, but I did want to make this video anyway, just as a sort of reflection of the 5th annual Myth Information Conference that I attended this year in Milwaukee. It happened yesterday. I was out really late, and so I didn't get a chance to do like a reaction. I also didn't do any reactions like during the conference because I wanted to A, conserve my phone battery, and B, just sort of be present for the event. Yeah, so basically this conference is a gathering of atheists and skeptics and other similar ilk, I guess, to discuss various issues. They have different panels, discussions, interviews, debates. I attended last year, and it was a lot of fun, and so I definitely had to go this year, especially since they were bringing in so many different guests. Goodness sakes. Sorry, I'm outside. It's not ideal. Yeah, like I said, I couldn't record anything yesterday, and I had to leave my Airbnb this morning, so I couldn't record there. But yeah, so I attended. They had a bunch of different YouTubers from the so-called Skeptosphere coming in and doing various panels. So yeah, like the first one was how has the political climate divided the atheist community? So Gregory Fleur, aka Armored Skeptic, Jacqueline Glenn, Vadim Newquist, the creator / humble servant of Creationist Cat, and David Smalley were all there discussing that topic, moderated by Stephen Knight. Yeah, that was interesting. It was a really good discussion of, just because people are atheists doesn't mean they think alike, which is something I think a lot of people don't always grasp. They think, well, I mean, this is something that happens to any group of people. You think, okay, well, this person is that, therefore they must think this way. And I think that does happen a lot. I think people tend to assume things about different groups of people, and atheists, I think, are subject to this a lot. And so it was, basically an exploration of all the different political views that occur in the atheist and skeptic community. Jacqueline, Greg, and David Smalley were all kind of on the same page about this. Vadim was the only one that was, well, he and Skeptic had a little bit, not beef exactly, but there had been some issues between them in the past, and those did get brought up. Because, one of the things that was being discussed, there was this kind of group on YouTube and social media years ago called Atheism Plus, which was basically atheism plus various social justice issues and social issues like feminism, Black Lives Matter, and basically it was atheism, but also like a very deep concern for different social issues. And that sounds fine and good on the surface, but like especially Greg, Armored Skeptic, he had been part of Atheism Plus in the past and had a falling out with the community because of certain ideologies that they held, and so like he and Vadim were talking about that a lot. But yeah, no, it was a really good discussion and really set the tone for the day about, you can't always assume that people think a certain way just because they belong to a certain group. And we do need to be inclusive of different ideologies and ideas, even if we disagree with them. I mean, within reason, but like, we do at least need to be open to new ideas, and if they are bad ideas, then we can then, argue against them and, shut them down in a mature and intellectual and respectful way. But yeah, so that was a really good start. And so the next panel was, have women achieved gender equality in the U.S.? And so that was Karen Garst, who is a professional. She identifies as a second wave feminist. So she was around during like the 50s and 60s during that whole women's rights movement. And then she was debating Karen Strawn, who is a men's rights activist. And that was moderated by Melissa Chen, who was a speaker last year. And because both of the speakers were named Karen, Melissa actually brought out these two little headbands. One had a little fuzzy angel halo, and the other had little sparkly devil horns on it, and gave the angel one to Garst and the devil horns to Strawn, and they both took it in good humor. And it was really funny. But yeah, so Melissa really didn't need to. I mean, she set up the debate with just a couple of questions. To get it started, but then after that she kind of just sat back and let them talk. They were both very, very respectful and very, like, they talked with each other. They agreed on a lot, actually, about various women's issues and men's issues too, and problems within the feminist community, and problems within, so-called, patriarchal systems. And yeah, they agreed on a lot, and even the things that they did disagree on or dispute with one another, they were very calm and very, very mature about it. So that was really great. And the two of them, yeah, there was no like animosity or hatred or anything between the two of them. They were just very, very, very mature about it. It reminded me a lot of the debate last year about Islam with Azhar Nomani and I can't remember the guy's name, but it was a discussion about Islam, and the two of them were both very, very respectful with one another. And so I really liked that discussion a lot. Yeah, and so, yeah, then the one after that, what impact does social justice activism have on the African American community? This year there was a lot of sort of social issues being discussed as opposed to specifically religion. So we had the one about women and feminism, and then we had one featuring Marissa Janae Johnson. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her middle name correctly. Who is an activist, a Black Lives Matter activist and organizer. She kind of rose to fame/infamy when she helped hijack or take over a Bernie Sanders rally over on the West Coast back in 2016, I believe. And then she was talking to Derek Blackman, aka Some Black Guy, about, activism and, its impact on the Black community in the United States. And that was moderated by Brittany Simon. She was really nice, very, very good, very engaging, very positive. She is a ray of sunshine. So the two of them, it was, again, largely respectful and cordial, and yeah, they disagreed more, I think, on some of the things. Derek's whole thing is we just need to talk to people and come together and show what it's like one-on-one with somebody. Like if someone has a prejudice or a preconceived notion, the best thing that you can do is really just talk to them. You just talk to them, hang out, show them, hey, you're just a regular person doing your thing. And, if you do that enough and you come together, you'll have a better time of, relieving racial tension and outright racism. Whereas, excuse me, I don't have a tripod, sorry. Whereas Marissa was more about directly tackling issues. There were some disagreements there, but again, it was a really, really good discussion. Especially someone who is attending school now, college, a lot of social justice issues are being brought up, and I'm being exposed to more left-leaning politics, I think. So I was really looking forward to this conference to hear different ideas and perspectives about different issues affecting gender groups and racial groups and LGBT groups. That was one of the later panels. But after that, there was one about our social commentary outlets displacing the influence of mainstream media. The answer is yes. There was a YouTuber called The Quartering. I don't remember his real name. Chris Raygun was supposed to be there, but he couldn't come for some reason. I don't remember. So they got Tim Pool to be there instead. Stephen Knight and Claire Lehman. She works for something called Quillette, which is an independent media news outlet based out of Australia. That was moderated by David Smalley. And so the four of them talked for a long time about sort of the rise of independent media and sort of the death of the old school mainstream media and how they are failing to kind of failing to compete, and how a lot of people kind of don't trust them anymore as far as I suppose media content and reporting. There's a lot of bias that's been pointed out, but there was also pointed out it's like, well, independent news media outlets are biased as well. And unfortunately, with the rise of the internet and social media and all these things, it's not like these independent outlets are going to go away. It's kind of inevitable at this point that the mainstream old school media is going to sort of die, slowly but surely. But yeah, unfortunately, that conversation kind of got cut short. They let it run for a little while until our MC came out and said that we were going to take a break, going to have a dinner break or something, but we all had to leave the building. That's what he told us, and so we're like, okay, we all have to leave. And so we all go outside, and there's like police officers and everything. Yeah, there was like tape, like police tape cordoned off, and so we're like leaving the building, and the police are like ushering us, and like, you have to go to that side of the street, and we're all like, what the hell's going on? And like with all the police tape and everything, and there looked like there was a street sign knocked over. It's like, was there a car accident or something? But no, they were all shooing us over to the other side, and then a police officer told us that like, you need to back up, and then there were rumors flying around. It's like, oh, there was a bomb threat or something, and I was like, okay, well, I don't know about that. Well, then someone confirmed on Twitter. I never used Twitter, but I was actually using it during this thing. Someone confirmed on Twitter. It's like, okay, yeah, no, they're looking for a bomb. Like, they have dogs, like, sniffing around. Someone called in a bomb threat. So, yeah, we got an early dinner break, which was fine because we didn't get a lunch break. Last year they did a quick lunch break and then a dinner break later, but this year it's like the event started, the doors opened at 10:30 and people were kind of, filing into the theater at 10:30, but then we weren't going to have a dinner break until like 5, and I remember seeing that on the schedule, and I was like, that doesn't sound like a good idea. So it's like, well, it kind of sucks that there's a threat and, we all have to leave, but at least we get food now. So yeah, there was a local sports bar that was actually doing a special, happy hour deal with drinks and appetizers and stuff, specifically for this event. So a lot of us went down there and got something to eat, which was nice. And we're all, watching Twitter, what the hell's going on? And so, yeah, everyone's talking about the bomb threat. And, yeah, so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, me and everybody at the restaurant, we were all talking about, it's like, what the hell? Literally this whole day has been talking about how we need to just, talk to one another and, even if you disagree with someone, have respectful discourse and be open to new ideas and, just be respectful. That's the whole thing about it. And someone... We still don't know who. I mean, this literally happened yesterday, so who knows? But yeah, literally somebody called in a bomb threat. It ended up being a false alarm, but it disrupted the conference. Someone felt the need to disrupt this conference, and I don't know if it was because of a political move, or if it was because it was technically an atheist convention, or what. But yeah, it was just so frustrating because I remember last year there were a bunch of people that threw a fit that June Lapine, aka Shoe on Head, and Greg was there last year. And then Sargon of Akkad, Carl Benjamin, he was also there last year. He was a very, very contentious figure, still is a contentious figure. Controversial, I should say. And so a lot of people were very unhappy that those three attended. And there was a big stink that was made about that, and they had to up security that year. And so they had more security this year, and they also... I know Greg was actually working with MythCon, or Mythicist, to get more people in that were, that disagreed, basically, with the the general opinions that the so-called skeptosphere tends to have on YouTube. So that's why we had Marissa Johnson come in, and why we had like a feminist come in. But yeah, it was just so frustrating. I mean, kind of exciting also. I've never been under a bomb threat before, but also really frustrating. Because it's just like, why? Why do you feel the need to do this? You know, this is the sort of thing that gets talked about. Like, I mean, again, we don't know who did this or why, but there does seem to be opinions within certain groups of people that free speech needs to be limited if it's like so-called hate speech. If there are problematic ideas, those need to be shut down. And this is these are the things that everyone talks about. It's like, okay, you don't like an opinion, you think it's dangerous, so you need to shut them down. But it's like, if you shut them down, that only makes more people want to know what they said. And, you know, just because you disagree or don't like it doesn't mean it doesn't have validity. And there's just this whole thing about free speech. And unfortunately, at least this is my opinion, hate speech is free speech, basically, unless you get into very specific circumstances of like libel or slander or incitement. Incitement is a very specific instance where violence can actually occur. Like, people are, unfortunately, you know, even if it's, you know, something deplorable, people do have the right to think and say what they will. So it was really frustrating that someone felt the need to do this during the conference. God, and I remember while we were sitting at the restaurant, there was a tweet by Hemant Mehta, who is someone who does like an atheist vlog or something. I can't remember what. I know he has a YouTube channel too. But he said something about a bomb threat shutting down the alt-right conference MythCon. And we're all just like looking at the tweet going, is he joking? Like, this isn't an alt-right thing. It's just, what? Because that's the thing. A lot of the YouTubers that came to this thing, they've been accused of being alt-right, even though they're not. A lot of the people here there were centrists or leftists, but they get accused of being alt-right by like the far left activist types. God, so yeah, he ended up deleting the tweet later and apologizing, so, you know, good on him, but still, it's just like, really? Like, again, it's like, why are you assuming what we're like and what we think, you know, just because we're attending this? Yeah, it was frustrating, but eventually, you know, the conference was back on. Yeah, the next one was, what is the impact of intersectionality? That was Lauren Chen, also known as Roaming Millennial, Clay Routledge, I'm not quite sure how to say his name, Michael Rowlands, and Chrisiosity. I don't remember what her full name is. I know Chrisiosity is like her YouTube handle and stuff. And I missed like the first 15-20 minutes of this panel because I was still at the restaurant. Like, we were all kind of waiting for the go-ahead to go back to the theater where this was being hosted. Yeah, so I came back and I missed the first part of it, and that was one of the more heated debates, I think. Yeah, Lauren and Clay were kind of on one side, and then Chrisiosity and Michael Rowlands were on the other side, and they were being moderated by David Smalley. And yeah, I really wasn't. Some of the arguments that Michael Rowlands and Chrisiosity were making really were not. I really. I can't remember any specific examples off the top of my head, and eventually Mythicist is going to post recordings of these panels up on YouTube. But yeah, I wasn't really buying some of their arguments and thought they were being. I mean, Michael Rowlands outright stated that he was racist against white people, so that. Yeah, that wasn't the best conversation. They managed to keep it mostly civil, but it still wasn't. It was a little contentious up there. Yeah, okay, what happened after that? Oh, after that was how can we navigate the issues impacting transgender people today? This was another panel I was really looking forward to. That had Theron Meyer, Blair White, and Angel Molina, all three trans women. International assortment, actually. Blair is American. Theron is from South Africa, but she's lived in Canada for the past several years. And then Angel Bonilla is a Filipina. She appeared on The Voice. She's a professional singer, whereas Theron and Blair are professional YouTubers. And that was great. That panel was moderated by Brittany Simon. And that was really nice. Like, I was honestly really scared because, especially with Blair, she is a conservative trans woman, which, if conservative, right-wing, like, LGBT people tend to have kind of a hard time of it. Since I think a lot of that community tends to be more to the left. And especially with Blair, like, she's had a lot of issues, like, she did a video a little while ago talking about the various issues she had. She's had to move multiple times due to stalking and threats. She's had to talk to the FBI about various things. She has been outright, like, assaulted. There was a video, I think a few months ago, of someone, like, just walking up to her and, like, splashing an alcoholic drink in her face. Like, just because, I don't even know. Like, she wasn't even, like, doing anything. She was talking to someone else, and someone else just came up and, like, splashed it in her face and, like, ran off. So, like, Blair's had a rough time of it. So I was, like, kind of concerned but this panel, like, they were all really sweet and really nice, and they were all very friendly with each other, and, like, there wasn't really any contentious stuff going on, and honestly, politics didn't come up a whole lot. I mean, Blair said that she was conservative, Theron said that she kind of didn't know where she landed, and then Angel just said that she hated politics. So, yeah, that was a really just very pleasant discussion with the three of them, and yeah, that was real nice. And then the last one, where do social justice, the secular community, and identity politics meet? Which was a debate between Dr. Richard Carrier, and Carl Benjamin, also known as Sargon of Akkad. And that was moderated in spirit by Mario Quadracci. Yeah, last year when Sargon attended, he had a discussion with Thomas Smith, and that did not go well. The two of them basically yelled at each other the whole time. They were talking past each other. Nothing productive came of that conversation. And Thomas ended up just leaving. He like stormed off stage, which I thought was really unprofessional. I mean, both of them were kind of just being shits to each other, but that was really unprofessional. But I was like, okay, if Sargon comes back, like, he needs to have a moderator. And so when I saw that he was getting a moderator for this discussion, I was like, okay. Because, Sargon is a very passionate man. He is perfectly capable of having a calm, civil discussion, but he can get riled up and just really go after people. And yeah, when this discussion started, he went on the offensive really fast. And I was just like, great, this is a lovely way to start. And it was because of the way the chairs were set up. Like, because the previous panel, the transgender panel, was 3 speakers and then a moderator. It's like there were 3 chairs on one side, and then Brittany's chair was kind of off to the side. And so when they started this one, they took off one of the chairs, so it was 2 chairs to the side and then the moderator's chair. So the moderator was not actually sitting between the 2 debaters to, like, calm them down and, like, be in the middle of everything to, take care of things. And so he was basically sitting off to the side. He barely said or did anything during this whole debate / discussion. And yeah, it's like the two of them, like, they got to yelling at each other again, and it's like, wow, this is kind of like last year where they're talking past each other. They're both being really combative, and nothing productive. I mean, a few productive things were said. I mean, both of them ended up, Richard and Sargon both made good points, but it ended up getting lost in the volley of, like, well, especially, like, insults from Sargon's side, and, well, at least him, Sargon was being, like, legitimately rude at a few points. I don't remember if he actually directly insulted him, but he was, I mean, at one point he was basically just yelling "shut up" over and over again, and and then Richard Carrier was like not listening. Like he kept bringing up abortion, like they were trying to talk about like the good. He kept making this no true Scotsman argument about the good social justice fighters and warriors or whatever. Like there's all these like extreme social justice activists, but then there's the good ones. And those are the real social justice activists. And Sargon's like, okay, but you need to, these people like are very, very loud, very important. They're in the government. Like you need to like acknowledge that. And he's just like, although they're not real social justice activists. So it was not. Yeah, they ended up talking past each other. But yeah, he kept bringing up abortion, and kept saying, because Sargon brought up, it's like, okay, like you claim that you are fighting for abortion access and everything for women's rights, but there are actually a lot of women that are opposed to abortion, and they feel that you fighting for abortion is actually like a violation of human rights, and so they're fighting against you. Like you claim you're fighting for human rights by providing women access to abortion, but these women who are, pro-life feel that they're fighting for human rights and women's rights by, opposing abortion. And Carrier was just like, well, they're wrong and they need to be fought. And it's just like, okay, like I am pro-choice myself, but at the same time, it's like you can't just completely dismiss the fact that there are people and women who are anti-abortion and just saying, well, they're wrong and we need to like fight them or shut them down or whatever. That's not actually doing anything for the abortion discussion and the abortion debate, which is very multi-layered, very, there's high emotions on both sides. So it's like you can't just alienate one side and like expect there to be a productive, discussion or anything. So yeah, that was not a good debate, and I was like really tense after that. So after that, I paid extra to go to the party. I forgot to get out my little rainbow lanyard card thing. I still have my owl, my little owl stamp from going into the party. The party was fun. I met some people that had attended last year, some old friends of mine, and so we got to hang out, got to take pictures with a few people, got to talk to a few people. I got to talk to Derek. He was super chill. Hung out there for a long time, had pizza, had cake, had a Malibu and Sprite. And went home super tired. My contacts were killing me. It was overall, I thought it was a really good conference. Everyone for the most part was very respectful, very cordial. And even in the Sargon and Richard Carrier debate, like the first half was really just them going at it, but like the second half things did kind of calm down a little bit. And then sort of leading into the questions, they were both a little calmer. So even that one it was definitely better than last year's debate with Thomas Smith. But if they have Sargon back, they need to have a proper moderator, because there needs to be a neutral party commanding the stage. Like obviously Sargon has a very strong personality, and I'm sure whoever they get to talk with him will also have a fairly strong personality, but there needs to be someone on stage to kind of control the conversation and make sure it doesn't get off topic, because that's the thing. Their discussion ended up getting kind of veering off topic a lot. And and another thing about this conference, this whole thing, it's only the 5th year that this conference has been done. And in the past, it's mostly been about like atheism and issues surrounding that, whereas this year it was more about social political issues. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that inherently, especially since certain social and political ideologies can take on a very religious quality when taken too far. And the same thought processes are kind of similar to religious extremists in a lot of ways. So I don't think that those topics were necessarily out of place at this conference. But I think next year they should maybe try to get back to more religion and atheism-based discussions, since this is kind of what it's for. I mean, they can definitely still have like the social political commentary, but I think they should like try and kind of tie it back into MythCon's original like purpose and idea. But overall, it was a great conference. It was just as fun as last year. It's so nice being surrounded by people who are all there to listen. You know, not just to talk, but to listen. You know, everyone is there to meet with people. Everyone is around having different discussions about religion or politics or social issues and this and that, specific events. And everyone's just talking to one another. And I think these types of events are really good because, especially if you spend a lot of time in these spheres on the internet, you kind of forget that these are actual people that hold these different views. And if it's a certain set of views that you really don't agree with, you can have a tendency to not really see them as a human being and like be more vicious towards them. So it's really good to have these events because you actually get to see people as people. And like even Chrisiosity, like even though I was not real impressed with the things that she brought up during her discussion, I still, at the after party, I did go up to her and thanked her for coming, because it's like, we need to have like someone else. We need to have a different viewpoint, and like, it was still good of her to come because, yeah, a lot of people who attend this thing are probably not really on her side, so to say. And so going into this and going up against that is probably kind of intimidating. And so, you know, it was great of her that she came. Yeah, so, yeah, it was overall. And, oh, and also at the after party they had, Angel sang for us. She sang "I Will Always Love You." My goodness, she has the best voice. Very wonderful singer. And then they had some guy, I'm not familiar with him, his name is like Rucka Rucka or something, and he like put his arm around Sargon and went up to the mic and like sang a parody of some song, and like Sargon is like asked for a beer beforehand. He seemed kind of embarrassed, but yeah, no, the after party was a ton of fun, and the whole conference was fun. So yeah, I'm starting to ramble at this point, so I should probably cut off the video, but yeah, so hopefully I'll get to go to MythCon next year, and also hopefully we find out what the hell happened with that bomb threat. But yeah, anyway, sorry, I'm really bad at ending videos, but yeah, thanks for watching. If you attended MythCon, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and yeah, thanks for watching.